What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Toronto Blue Jays franchise in MLB The Show 16. Today we are here to recap the off-season, recap the regular season as we head into the final game against the Boston Red Sox. I'm actually going to simulate it. I originally planned on playing this game right here against San Francisco, and I actually did play it, and then I had to refresh my computer. That wasn't the right word. I had to format my hard drive on my computer, and I lost that particular file. I also lost 2 NBA videos. I'll cover that tomorrow. But I was going to show this, and then I actually replayed the game, and it was much more interesting. But the file would not drop into Vegas, so I said this is not worth it. I've played the game twice already, and it was just a normal regular season game. Our last kind of month of September was a little weak, as you can see a few losses in there. Pretty scattered through the month. We had a decent month overall, it looks like, though. So, we're going to just head into the postseason here as we try to defend a World Series, as the Blue Jays' only other World Series besides the one that we won in year one of this franchise was back-to-back in 93 and 94. So, let's get into this for a second. We can go over our stats for the regular season now. So, I think, has every team played 80 or 162 games? It looks like it. I don't really think anybody hasn't. There's just a day gap in between or so. So we finished with a 103 and 59 record. That is good enough to be the best record in the league for the second straight year. It's not record breaking, but it is for the second straight year the best record of any team in baseball. Our team hit 278, slugged 460, and 351 on base. I like that because 350 is an elite on base percentage for really like one player. If they have a 350 on base, that's very good. So, I guess that would be very good. Anything above that's like amazing. And 988 fielding percentage, even though we kind of have a weak defensive team, and a 340 team ERA. And that's even despite the struggles of Aaron Sanchez and J.A. Happ this year. So, we won the division by 18 games over the New York Yankees, who finished 85 and 77. They're a wild card team, so there's potential of us playing them in the first or the second round, I guess, the ALDS. The Red Sox 81 and 81, and then these other two teams were pretty bad. So the Royals won the Central, the Astros won the West, and we are actually competing with the Angels for best record for quite a bit of the year. So it's kind of surprising that they only finished in a wild card spot, because they were like 55 and 30 at the same time that we were, 55 and like 40 at the same time this year that we were. So it doesn't look like they finished the season all that great. This is the wild card. And the worst teams in the league. You can look at all the standings in the American League right there. The National League, this National League was a lot stronger. The Nationals missed the playoffs, even though they had an 88 and 74 record. So that's pretty unfortunate for them. The Mets 93 and 69. They made it out of the NL East. The Cardinals won the Central 101 and 61. They were at 160 or 101 and 60. And if we lost our last game and they won their last game, we would have both tied for the best record. I was watching it, but since we won our last game, it didn't matter. The Cubs make it as a wild card team, and the Pirates would have made the playoffs in the American League with that record. And the Dodgers and the Giants actually missed the postseason as well, so I don't know. They must have to play a play-in game or a game to determine who has home field advantage between these two teams, because they both have 88 wins. So. And the Braves actually missed the playoffs even though they had 86 wins. So, it looks like the Cubs and then the Giants and Nationals have to play a play-in game. So, I said home field advantage. I meant to get into a wild card spot. And the Nationals, I guess, won one more game than the Giants in their last 10 to get that. So, let's switch over to, that's not what I wanted. The Giants, they're right there. And we are going to... view today's games, and we are going to simulate this game. And it looks like the Nationals won that game, so the Giants will miss out on the playoffs, it looks like. So, whoops, I didn't want to do that. But, all right, so it looks like the Nationals made the playoffs out of the National League over the Giants in that game 163. So that'll be interesting to see what happens in that. And they're going to play the Cardinals. The Mets and Dodgers play each other much like they did in 2015. And then seeding-wise in the American League, we have top seed, and the Astros are going to have home field advantage over the Royals. So That's again like last year. There's two rematches of 2015 ALDS series. Of course, the Royals beat the Astros, despite the Astros pretty much outplaying them for most of that series in 2015, and they had several chances to eliminate them, but just could not capitalize. So, and yeah, that's pretty much it for standings. I don't believe they gave out awards yet. Oh, they did. So looks like Nelson Cruz won the DH, or won the MVP. Strasburg won the Cy Young. He had a really good year for the Angels. The batting title, Miguel Cabrera hit 332. We'll cover that in a few minutes. Francisco Rodriguez had an amazing year out of the bullpen for the Tigers, it looks like. Yohan Moncada won Rookie of the Year, even though he didn't have the greatest rookie year in the world. But they had a couple kind of weak rookie classes. Mike Trout won the Hank Aaron Award for the second straight year. Taijuan Walker won a Gold Glove. Gary Sanchez won a Gold Glove. Chris Davis, Dustin Pedroia, Manny Machado, Jose Iglesias, Jackie Bradley, Adam Jones, and Cole Calhoun. This is all AL awards. Silver Slugger, Nelson Cruz, your league MVP this year. That's crazy. Deandre Navarro at catcher. That's a surprising year out of him. Chris Davis, Jose Altuve, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Mike Trout, J.D. Martinez, and Michael Brantley. And then our NL awards, Clayton Kershaw won the MVP and the Cy Young for the second time in the last 4 years. Freddie Freeman won the batting title. Yuri Samilia is a reliever of the year. Andy Wilkins won Rookie of the Year for the Brewers. I do not know who that is. I've never heard of him, but interesting stuff. That's the wrong button. Hank Aaron Award went to Bryce Harper, even though he lost it last year despite being MVP to Joey Votto. This would be 3 years in a row for him if that hadn't happened. Patrick Corbin, JT Realmuto, Freddie Freeman, D. Gordon, Anthony Rendon, Addison Russell, Gerardo Parra, Yoenis Cespedes, and Nick Markakis are your Gold Glovers. That's a surprise for Yoenis Cespedes. Did not make a single error in center field all year. And then Silver Sluggers for pitchers. Bumgarner, what a shock. Buster Posey, Kendrys Morales on the Cardinals, it looks like 302, 32 home runs this year. Solid for him. DJ LeMahieu, Chris Bryant, who's a beast, it looks like 972 OPS, 30 home runs. Even though he had only 555 at bats. I can't check plate appearances from here, but that's incredible. He's turning into such an amazing player. That's the wrong button. Wilmer Flores is the shortstop, Silver Slugger. Yoenis Cespedes, Bryce Harper, Giancarlo Stanton. I don't know why I said Jan. So look at our own player stats. We'll go by not each category. We'll go over hits. There's that. Josh Donaldson led our team in home runs, but Bautista, I think, was our team MVP, and I'll go over why. That's that. RBI, looks like that. Stolen bases, Kevin Pillar at 17. We'll go by OPS for here. So Jose Bautista had almost a 950 OPS, even though he's 36 years old. He had a 402 on base, and moving him up to the second spot in the lineup was really when our team started to take off this season. So I think he's really our team MVP. Josh Donaldson did not get on base as much. He actually had a lower slugging percentage too, despite leading our team in home runs and coming second in RBI. Really, he wouldn't have had as many RBI if it wasn't for Jose Bautista getting on base 40% of the time. So Colabello had an amazing year. I really didn't expect this out of him. I kind of expected something more like last year. We had a 763 OPS, and he was like, okay, not great, but he was better than what could have been in there. He had a really good year. Troy Tulowitzki came a little bit back down to earth. That's really what happened this year more than anything, was a lot of players came back down to earth. I did not expect Troy Tulowitzki to have a 423 OBP with a 1032 OPS again this year. But he did probably about 80% of that. Yeah, pretty much math would indicate he did about 80% of that. He 819 OPS with a 374 on base, 445 slugging. So not quite as good of a year, but I didn't expect him to have the year he did last year anyway. So this is really more of what I expected from him. A lot more like his years in 2015 and 2013 where he had those kind of numbers. Maybe not 2013 so much, but you know, he's in the twilight of his career. So Justin Smoke came a little bit more back down to earth. His OPS dropped by over 100 points, and he didn't almost have 40 home runs again this year. But if he can do this for a couple more seasons, then I'm very happy with his performance over there. Devin Travis had kind of a breakout year, 807 OPS with 60 RBI. Andre Ethier, we didn't really play him a whole lot down the stretch, but he did do a lot better with us than he did with the Dodgers, so that is worth noting. Carlos Ruiz had a solid year for 134 at-bats. He hit 751. Ezekiel Carrera at a 352 OBP, not really a slugger, obviously. Kevin Pillar was pretty solid. He was more of a defensive player, though. And Russell Martin, despite not having the greatest year slugging-wise, he had a 347 OBP, so that's always solid from your 8 or 9 hitter. And actually, even Ryan Goins had a decent year, 679 OPS, so that's good from him. That's what doubles looks like. Doubles I like to look at just as much as home runs because a guy like Devin Travis, he had 16 home runs this year, but he had 32 doubles. So that indicates that maybe a little bit more power progression, although it doesn't look like he's going to make much more power progression. Maybe a little more power progression, he could become a decent home run hitter. Let's try and avoid as much of this as possible. So we'll look at WAR, who's worth the most for our team this year. Jose Bautista, despite being our DH for a good portion of the year, was worth almost 7 wins. Josh Donaldson was a 5-win player. Kevin Pillar was a 4-win player, despite having a average to below average OPS. Justin Smoke was almost a 4-win player, so was Chris Colabello. 3.5 wins for Devin Travis. Troy Tulowitzki was only worth 3, so I don't know what that's. Might be more of an indication that he's kind of falling off than anything else, because I think he was worth like 7 wins last year. If I can find where WAR is. Oh, he's worth 10 wins last year. So, yeah, definitely wasn't going to have that great of a year again. But I didn't realize he was worth that much. He might kind of be tailing off a little bit defensively this year. Not the greatest. Not hitting for as much power as you can see. He actually minus 12 in power versus lefties. So, Encarnacion's worth 2. Russell Martin, or 2.5. Russell Martin was worth 2. And these guys were both worth a win or so. And these guys were pretty middling, to say the least. All right, so let's move on to our pitching stats. We'll actually go by, I forgot this was a feature until just now when I accidentally activated it. But starting pitchers, this is what wins look like. I don't really think wins mattered that much. As you can see, nobody had double-digit losses on our team, but nobody won like 19 games, 20 games, or anything like that. So Sonny Gray had a solid year. 213 to 69 walk ratio. He also led our team in ERA. This is pretty much our team leaders in ERA pretty much went in order of the rotation. Actually, they did go in the order of rotation. 117 WHIP for Marco Estrada. Not our bullpen. Our starting rotation for the playoffs is going to be these 3 guys. Maybe Aaron Sanchez if we have to, but I don't know if that's going to come up. He's been really good in real life this year, but he's not all that great in this game, although he's progressing rather nicely. So expect him to get up to maybe like an 86, 87 somewhere in that area. He's pretty much probably going to settle into what he is right now. And J.A. Happ had a terrible year, so he had 15 quality starts out of like 32 total starts, and so did Aaron Sanchez. But Aaron Sanchez played a little bit better, so complete game shutouts. Won't say that's not important. Hits, earned runs. Although it does kind of concern me, these guys did allow a lot of home runs this year, so we'll see how that pans out in the playoffs. And Marcus Stroman was actually the best pitcher on our team this year by WAR, so that's an interesting. Must be because he walked a lot less people. I don't know. What does their FIPS look like? Yeah, it looks like actually Sonny Gray outperformed his FIP pretty significantly this year. And J.A. Happ had a pretty decent FIP, but I just think he wasn't very good overall. Only a 7.5 Ks per 9, although Aaron Sanchez was a little bit worse. So, you never know. FIP is sometimes a weird thing. I actually prefer XFIP a lot more, but that's just me. And then relievers. Let's quickly go through this. If you guys want to see this, you can take a look. I don't really care a whole lot, but and then closers was actually one of our relievers, and then our actual closer anyway. So it's going to do the same thing, pretty much the years these 2 guys had, and yeah, that's that. So Kenley Jansen looks like it was a lot better this year, but I'm not getting rid of Ozuna, or I'm not taking Ozuna out of that role until he proves me wrong. So that's that. We'll do team rankings, and then we'll probably head out, see if anybody's leading leading the league in any stuff. Maybe. I don't want this video to run too long. So batting average, we hit 278 as a team, so that's pretty impressive. That's unimportant. We scored the most runs in the league, I think, for this 3rd year in a row now. I think they scored the most runs in the league the year before I started this too. So Josh Donaldson scored 103 runs this year. That's crazy. Hits, we led the league. Doubles were 6th. Triples, that's not important. Home runs, we led the league. Runs batted in, we led the league. I'd hope so. We were second to last in the league in stolen bases. We really don't have any guys who have speed. Hopefully that changes in this offseason. I'm hoping to do something. But when we did try to steal, we didn't really get caught all that much, so that's also good to see. Stolen base percentage, that's not important. Bases on balls, we were second. Strikeouts, we weren't like dead last. It looks kind of like we were in the middle of the pack. Actually, we were only seventh, so that's not bad. Slugging percentage, we led the league. On base, we led the league by 10 points. Total bases, plate appearances, that's not important. ERA, we were sixth, so I think that's like the second year in a row that we were sixth in ERA, not top five. So we've had top five offense and top five pitching, or top offense and like top five almost pitching. So I think we're in pretty good shape when it comes to the playoffs. Complete game shutouts, saves, we're third. Blown saves, we are. Oh, that's kind of concerning. Roberto Osuna somehow blew 8 saves this year. I thought that was very strange, but I'm not too concerned about it. Weird stuff happens. 25th, or 25 blown saves or 20th. It's a little bit concerning. Hits allowed, we were 11th, so that's really because, J.A. Happ is actually pretty low on there. I was thinking because J.A. Happ and Aaron Sanchez kind of got roughed up. Runs allowed, so we were 5th in runs allowed. I guess it was just a lot of unearned runs that we allowed. It looked like about 50 unearned runs we allowed to score because earned runs. Not even 50, like 35 it looks like. I thought we only gave like 540 runs this year, but home runs allowed, we were actually 6th, even though I was a little bit concerned because so many guys gave up like 20 home runs, but it looks like that's kind of normal actually. AJ Griffin gave up 37 home runs this year for the Rangers. I guess it's kind of not all that surprising to see kind of high home run totals given up by a lot of these guys. Walks allowed, we were 5th, so that's good. Strikeouts, we were 7th in the league. Win percentage, not important. Win percentage. I was thinking win percentage for pitchers, but this is, we are the top team in the league this year. He won 1 or 2 more games in St. Louis. LA was really good this year, too. A lot of good National League teams. I don't really think we have a lot of competition getting back to the World Series this year, so take that for what it's worth. We'll look at league leaders, and then we'll head on out because we do have a little bit of time. Jose Bautista finished 11th in batting average. He was leading the league at one point. Pilar tied for 10th in hits. Doubles, I don't see anybody up there. Triples, home runs, Donaldson tied with Greg Bird for 4th place, and Bautista was tied for 6th with Steve Pearce and Genie Martinez, who has just been... Steve Pearce has been really good in this franchise so far. Pretty sure he had a good year last year, too. 774 OPS. Pretty good. RBI, Bautista finished 7th, and Donaldson finished 13th. Runs, Donaldson finished 3rd, and Troy Tulowitzki and Kevin Pillar both tied for 11th. Stolen bases were pretty close to actually being up there, but we're not quite up there. Walks, the second most in the league by Jose Bautista, though he actually had a higher OBP, so it looks like he had just more plate appearances than him. Josh Donaldson tied for 6th, and Troy Tulowitzki is tied for 12th. Slugging, 4th, Jose Bautista. OPS, 3rd is Jose Bautista. It looks like Trout's should have probably won the MVP, but Nelson Cruz might have more RBI or something stupid. This game likes to be dumb sometimes. I think it's actually... No, they had almost the exact same numbers. Mostly because Cruz hit more home runs. He had a higher... No, he had the same... Or he had a lower slugging percentage. I don't know how Nelson Cruz won the MVP, so that's very strange. I don't know why Mike Trout didn't win MVP. He had 10 wins, but... I don't know, weird stuff happens. Sonny Gray tied for 3rd in wins, and Marcus Stroman tied for 5th in wins. Losses, J.A. Happ tied for 1st, and so did Marcus Stroman for the fewest amount of losses. And then tied for 9th are both Marco Estrada and Aaron Sanchez. And actually tied for 13th would be Sonny Gray because he went 16-8. So it doesn't look like win totals are as high because like Corey Kluber was the only pitcher to win 18 games, and Strasburg was the only one to win 17. So I think this is another situation where Strasburg probably should not have won the MVP, but he had more strikeouts. So, I don't know. This game is very strange. Kluber's worth almost 2 more entire wins than Strasburg. I don't know why I was thinking Kershaw. Losses, saves, Ozuna was 3rd. ERA, Sonny Gray was 6th. Stroman was 8th, and Marco Estrada was 13th. Home runs allowed, Marcus Stroman tied for the 2nd fewest, and J.A. Happ tied for the 9th fewest. Shutouts, Marco Estrada had 3. He was the only one, I think, to have a shutout on our team. Tied for 7th. Strikeouts, Sonny Gray finished 3rd, and that is my phone. Sorry about that. Complete games, not important. Innings pitched, 7th, Sonny Gray. 10th tied would be Marcus Stroman, tied with Chris Sale. Walks allowed, Felix Hernandez had only 31 walks allowed. That's incredible. And 11th is Marco Estrada. Whip, Marco Estrada is 11th. Pitching WAR, Marcus Stroman is 5th. Sonny Gray is 9th. So 10 pitchers had more were worth more in terms of WAR than Steven Strasburg, but he won the Cy Young. So that's pretty stupid. And then batting WAR, Mike Trout was worth 10 wins, and Manny Machado was worth 7. And even Jose Bautista and Miguel Cabrera were both worth almost 7. But the MVP went to Nelson Cruz, who I don't even see on this leaderboard. So it was very strange. I don't think that there ever would be a player worth 10 wins who didn't win the MVP. At least not in this era of baseball. So that's pretty much going to do it. I'm going to give you a little bit of playoff preview. We will see who wins the wild card game as soon as I can remember who actually plays in it. So, it's right there, LA Angels. Oh, it's the Yankees. Okay, so we'll go to this and view today's games. We will simulate this game. And the Yankees beat the Angels. So we will be playing the Yankees in the first round of the playoffs. And it's going to be Sonny Gray versus Luis Severino, Marcus Stroman versus Michael Pineda, and Marco Estrada versus Nathan Eovaldi to start out the festivities. And then after that, that will be determined. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoy, and stay tuned. This is going to be the last episode without background music. I just kept forgetting to put it on in the other episodes, and these are recorded as live comms, and then I just upload them directly. So stay tuned for more of the Blue Jays franchise. I will see you guys tomorrow with NBA, and then hopefully Saturday with another episode of this. So stay tuned.